Welcome to Bump Set Chat, the podcast where volleyball professionals come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today, from St. John's University, Jojo Persico. Welcome to Bump Set Chat, a podcast for volleyball professionals and coaches to come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today I'm super excited. I have a legend. I have the head coach of the St. John's University, Jojo Persico. Welcome.
Yep. Thank you, Barry. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So the way we start things off, we do a few random questions. So are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Most interesting place you've played a volleyball match at?
Okay. In the mid-2000s, my team, along with our psychology department at St. John's University, had a 3-week trip to Vietnam.
Oh, my God.
And we brought the 2006 team and 2007, and we played with 12 other teams from around the world. Kazakhstan, China, Thailand, and we were ranked 12th. And we ended up making it all the way to the finals. And we played the host school, the host country's team, Vietnam, and it was a 5-setter. And I actually happened to have, I didn't know you were going to ask this question, but Violetta Lashinska, our Big East all-setter, was on that team. And this is her.
Okay.
Right? And she led us, along with an amazing middle blocker, Wei Ping Wang, to the finals. We lost in the 5th set, 16-14. However, we played the finals on Ho Chi Minh's birthday.
Oh, wow.
They had 5,000 fans there, and they would bring portraits of Ho Chi Minh. And the portraits looked like this. They were like, Ho Chi Minh, Ho Chi Minh. And it was packed, and it was hot. It was very hot. And the fans and the people could not be nicer. At the end of that match, we were there for 3 weeks. So the man comes down from the stands and he says, because there was not many women coaches, there was no other women coach there.
Yeah.
He brought me a hand embroidered, because they do such great crafting there, a photo for me of his artwork, flowers, and he signed my name. Thank you, Coach Jojo Persico. And it was really a lovely moment that this gentleman that I didn't know came down to say he appreciated our team being there. They really enjoyed meeting our team. And also during that trip, our team did community service in a deaf camp for young children. And we went to these camps, and these poor deaf children did dancing for us. And they couldn't hear, but they had this beautifully choreographed musical event for us. So that was the most special time for our group, and it was really a great trip. 3 weeks is a long time.
That is a long time. Holy cow, that's so cool. All right. So second question now. So I understand you're a musician. What is your favorite, what song do you enjoy to play the most?
I enjoy all types and genres of music, but I have a special place in my heart for the disco era. So I love Ain't No Stopping Us Now. I love any Michael Jackson song. I am also a big fan of Donna Summer before the matches, so I really enjoy that genre the most.
All right. And the final question is, what is one thing everyone should experience when they go to New York City?
Oh, good question, Barry. One thing everyone should experience when they go to New York City is Christmas in New York.
Yeah.
Christmas in New York is something memorable. And if you add the Radio City Rockettes Christmas Spectacular to that weekend extravaganza, you will never forget your time in New York City.
Excellent. All right. So let's jump into the podcast. So, you're a New Yorker, I understand?
Born in Queens, New York, Brooklyn, Queens, New York.
And how did you discover volleyball?
Great question. I came from St. Gregory the Great Parish in Queens, Bellerose, Queens, and my parents were very instrumental and very active in the parish. And they started coaching the CYO teams. And so through the Catholic Youth Organization, which is still exists today, I became open and exposed to these sports that I used to just play on the street. So I played volleyball CYO, basketball CYO, softball CYO. We had swimming CYO. They would drive us to the Bayside swimming pool. We had some great parents, and we remember those great parents. Some of them have passed away, but they were very hands-on and really helped us to get women exposed to sport back then.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
the
wow.
CYO group.
Yep. Very cool. And now, what was the hook volleyball had on you to, many years later, you're still involved and enjoying it?
I then went to high school, St. Francis Prep, and at St. Francis Prep, they not only encouraged female athletes, they supported it, and
Nice.
they gave us great confidence. And at St. Francis Prep, they gave us resources to truly excel. And it was just one of the great experiences of my life. I feel I went to the greatest high school in America. I know I'm a little biased. That high school experience also was bringing in coaches from other collegiate teams to watch us. And I was getting recruited for basketball. In fact, one of the first women that recruited me, her bobblehead is there, Gail Wasmus. That's someone you may want to interview.
Okay.
Pioneer, one of the first volleyball coaches out of New York Institute of Technology on Long Island. She recruited me for basketball and along with some other schools, but it was really volleyball that I had the most opportunities because I was a left-handed setter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the Big East came calling. And back then, the Big East, which was founded by Jack Kaiser, who hired me along with Kathy Meehan and Jill Christensen, Jack Kaiser started the Big East, but when I was coming up, the Big East was already a few years old. So I would watch on our little black and white TV, Wayne Pearl Washington coming down from Syracuse, dribbling the basketball. And I would watch, a lot of those stars, Wayne McCoy from St. John's. And that was really a great time for me to get exposed to the Big East. So when Syracuse came and did a home visit, I wanted communications, and I studied at the Newhouse School of Telecommunications at Syracuse and played for two great coaches, Chris Terillian, and I brought her picture in case.
Nice.
Terillian, she's in this little shot. This was our college photo.
Yeah.
And also Dan Schulte, who's coaching club now still. So that was that's why I played volleyball. I just had more opportunities.
Yeah.
I was left-handed. I was a setter. I'm about 5'9", although I think I maybe shrunk an inch. I'm about 5'9.5". And at that time, that was very tall for a setter back then. Barry, can you imagine that? That was
No, my daughter and I caught you guys when you came to UConn to play last fall, and the height of your team was like, holy cow, they are like, we're just talking about being 5'9" tall, but your team were like all 6'2", 6'3". It's like, yeah, it's different from then and now.
Yes, very different. And a cute little story is, at the CYO, the Catholic Youth Organization, they would have an athletic sports dinner every year. And in 1975, I went to the dinner and we were so excited to see the speaker. And the speaker was this very famous coach. And at the end of the night, I asked this coach to sign my journal. And that coach was Coach Conaseca.
Oh, wow.
And then last year, I had the great blessing of breaking Coach Conaseca's all-time win record at the school with 527 wins. So it was really a full circle moment for me because that banner hung over my head since I started the team in 1994.
Yeah.
For 28 years at the time, it hung over my head. And he called me and he was so gracious. And he's been a great mentor and a great friend, and he's 99 years old.
Wow.
And we have another basketball coach in town called Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of Rick Pitino. So this is two legends there that I get to get advice from and support from. So it's a special time here at St. John's University.
That's phenomenal. And now, just going back to your time at Syracuse, what were some of the highlights for playing for them?
When I went to college at Syracuse University, the Big East Conference had Boston College in it. UConn had a very small gym at the time. And we had I called it the OGs, the original gang. So we had Villanova, Providence, And it was just great to be able to play. I received a scholarship back then, and we would play all the Big East teams that I would see on television for the men at the time playing basketball.
Yeah.
And as athletes, we would get free tickets to the Carrier Dome and Madison Square Garden. So we would get a chance to see our friends and our classmates play in the Big East. And it was a great time to be a student athlete. Not that now is not a great time to be a student athlete, but I find myself hearing on a daily basis about money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think I go through the day of college NCAA athletics where I don't hear someone talking about money.
Yeah.
That was not used, that word was not used when we were growing up playing collegiate athletics. I mean, obviously we were hoping to get a scholarship, but the final reward of money was not the reason why we went into athletics.
Yeah. And also you had, you didn't have the exposure of like just not you're inundated with so much sports and you can see so many aspects of it. Back then, like you said, you're watching on a black and white TV. You didn't see all the pieces that move and when you got to see it, it was like it was something special.
Yes, yes. I like to say ignorance is bliss because when you didn't know that there was a better sneaker that came out and your coach gave you sneakers,
Right.
you were so appreciative of these sneakers. Now you say, oh, they got that over there. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic with the social media.
Yeah.
I recently enrolled in a doctorate program in instructional leadership at St. John's. So I was glad you didn't ask me what's my recent book that I read because all I've been reading about is social media and its effect on mental wellness of
Yes.
student athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
I
big
haven't
one.
had time to read a lot of books except for educational doctorate books.
Right. Oh. So now after Syracuse, what was your path to coaching? What was the draw to, to do that next level of coaching?
So after Syracuse, I went into advertising and communications, and I worked at CBS, and I worked for a company called MJI Broadcasting, where like James Taylor would come in and
Oh,
record his
wow.
music. Yeah, Rod Stewart would come in and record music, and it was very exciting being in New York, working at the top of the Sixes building. And I still played volleyball. I played volleyball and had a tremendous high school club coach named Merlin Thompson, who's still coaching Big Apple volleyball. We were the only club team in New York City, was what Coach Merlin Thompson and Steve Henry put together, and Scotty Mose at the time. So those three legends got me in the club. And I continued to play while I worked at CBS. I continued to play on their older women's team,
Mm-hmm.
after college team, called Team Creole. And we continued to play. I continued to be a setter for them. And, even though I worked in Manhattan and I worked for Cablevision and I was in advertising, I had a few jobs, but it wasn't until I saw an ad in the Tablet, again, a Catholic paper. I keep coming back to the faith,
Mm-hmm.
the Catholicism, and that seems to be, streamed throughout my life. I saw a little ad in the Tablet, and it said St. John's was looking to start a volleyball program. So I told my family, I think I want to do that. And at the time, I had an MBA and I was making decent money. And I can't say they were thrilled about it,
Mm-hmm.
but it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. And now, from what I understand, when you came to St. John's, the gym wasn't really ready for volleyball.
Jim wasn't ready for volleyball. And I said to my administrator, where's the volleyball holes? Where's the sleeves? She said, we don't have sleeves. We have to put holes in Coach Conaseca and Brian Mahoney's floor. And I knocked on Coach Conaseca and Coach Mahoney's door, and I said, hi, I'm Jojo Persico, the head volleyball coach, and we have to put holes in your floor. And Coach Conaseca said, Persico, you can't put holes in the floor. We're built on a golf course. You're going to hit water. Well, we did hit water.
Oh no. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But
too.
we got the people that did our holes. Also, I called that did Big John Thompson's holes at Georgetown. So
Okay.
if it was good enough for Coach John Thompson, then I think these people could do a good job for us. And we have the same holes, the same sleeves. We call them sleeves.
Yeah.
Still in the gym today.
Oh, that's so cool. And now, when you showed up and you're building a program from start, recruiting, establishing culture and an identity of the team, that's, what did you, what were you able to pull from, or was it just like flying by the seat of your pants?
It was a little bit of everything. First of all, I had great support from my family and my friends. And in the beginning, I hired an assistant coach named Chris Riley. And he then became the coach at Townsend back in the 90s. And then he became the coach of Virginia Tech. And he's still involved in
Oh,
volleyball today.
cool.
He and I got this program off the ground, and we recruited. We didn't have scholarships. We only had a couple of scholarships back then, tuition scholarships, and we did not have dorms.
Oh, wow.
So we were convincing parents to put their children in off-campus housing, which wasn't really owned by St. John's in Queens, New York. So that was a sales pitch. And thank goodness it all worked out. But I recruited by twos. I took two from every club because I wanted them to have some chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I took two from the club in California, two from the club in Chicago, two from the club in New York, two from the club in Pennsylvania. And then I had, 12 girls, but I had 6 pairs that knew each other.
Right.
And they had, and I went to college and with my good friends. So I thought that was a nice way to handle everything being so new. At least they had a friend.
Yeah. And so you didn't even, it wasn't even like all New York players. You were already out of the gates recruiting from sort of all over.
I have to give Chris Riley that credit because we were in Queens a lot, and he said, I think we should go out. And I said, where do we go? And he said, we need to go to the AAUs. At the time, it was in California. So we flew to Sacramento, California, and together we were recruiting players. And he said, do you see that girl? And I said, yeah, that girl's very good. Let's get her. He said, no, Mary Wise at Florida. She's got her. I quickly learned who Mary Wise was.
Oh, that's too funny. So I had, speaking of Mary Wise, I had Shina Joseph on, who played for Mary.
Yes.
And she told me
From Canada.
Yes, from Canada, fellow Canadian. And she had a funny story of how she ended up being recruited. And I'm going to ask you something similar to this. So basically the way she was recruited, some other player sent her own highlight film down to Mary. And in the background, Mary saw Shina. And that's how she found Shina, flew up to Ottawa and recruited her. From a recruiting standpoint, do you have any funny, unique, memorable recruiting stories?
The only memorable recruiting story was I had to go to Poland. And I was on the train in Poland trying to get to Jaworzno and Radom. And I asked a gentleman in the car while we were waiting for the stop, when is the stop for Radom? And he said, now is your stop. And I went to the front of the train. The train stopped, and I'm waiting for the doors to open. Well, the doors don't open automatically in Poland.
Oh,
At least back then they didn't. And all of a sudden, I'm realizing I have to push this door open. And I'm frantically trying to push, and I never got the door open, and I had to travel another 30 miles to the next station.
Lord. Oh. Over the years you've been there, what are some of the highlights that really stick out for you? Some of the really memorable ones?
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, one of the memorable ones is in my very first year, I was hired in March, and we were put into the Big East in August.
Oh, wow.
And I was put into the Big East to play Notre Dame in October. And we were going to the Notre Dame game, and that was when you used to leave the day of the game. So we flew in,
Oh, wow.
our plane was delayed, and there was an Apple Bank clock turning. And I said to my trainer who was driving the vans, that clock says it's 6:55 p.m. The game is at 7. She said, oh, they didn't put their clocks back. It's October. We didn't put the clock back. We still have an hour to get there. This is 1994.
Oh.
I said, oh, okay. So as we pull into the Joyce Center at South Bend to play Notre Dame, we see cars packed in the parking lot. So we roll down our window and we say, what is everyone here for? And they said, we're here for the volleyball game. There's a tailgating party. And we said, we're the volleyball competition. Let us in. So we quickly went and we played the game. And the first set was when it was side out volleyball. There was no, there was no rally score. You could only score when you served. And so Barry, the first set was 15-0. We didn't score a point.
Oh, no.
Every time they scored a point, they said, point, Irish, and they would do push-ups. Point, Irish, and they would do push-ups. So I knew as a rookie coach, I had a lot to work on with my team. And those same girls came back the next year, and we made the Big East playoffs. And we were 10-25 our first season, and we were 25-10.
Oh, wow.
And one of my greatest feelings was in my 13th year of coaching, we were in first place. And we were tied with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And we had to play at Notre Dame, and it was on TV. And we won the first set, and we won the second set, and we won the third set.
Nice.
And we finished that season undefeated in the Big East, 13-0. And we had then kind of in my head, we've come a long way, baby. And we beat Coach Brown's team, another great coach you could interview, Debbie Brown, Hall of Famer, amazing coach from Notre Dame, played on our USA team. And she then became a great mentor and friend to me. And your adversary, other coaches, really help you to be the best you could be. If I hadn't fallen down in my first year, thinking I could just show up and coach and be a winner, like I wasn't kind of in my career, I kind of was used to winning.
Right.
If you don't fall down and respond to that then catapulted the future teams to really get better and learn your lessons. And so that's why I tell you that kind of long story. When we won our first Big East title in 2006, we won the next one in 2007. We won a third one in 2008. And then we recently just won again in 2019 and in 2021, a COVID year. And this year, we have a just super, super great team of young women. And we made it to the finals of the Big East title. And we were on the board to get picked for the NCAA. So, through it all, not that winning is the ultimate final goal on everything we do, but the ability to shoot for something and to really strive to reach your goal helps you create the qualities and characteristics that the players need to be successful in life.
Yeah. Excellent. And you're just touched about the mentors and whatnot. Like I've had Ellen from UConn on, Marie Zidek from DePaul, and I've had Peter Nettensinga from the assistant coach. And they all just sort of good people and just everyone speaks highly of each other. It's so pleasant to see.
It really is. It's a great network of respect and appreciation. And I believe we all are lifelong learners, which is super, super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, with St. John's, has a strong athletic tradition. How does the university's culture and support system contribute to the success of the women's volleyball program? How do you tap into that for your coaching?
Again, like Coach Patino on board now, we have some terrific female and male coaches. I think being outside of Manhattan, our ability to be diverse, we've always been a diverse, eclectic group. Even when I played high school, my club team was super diverse, 1980, 1983. Now you know how old I am. So I think, the diversity, the melting pot, the ability to be one of the original members of the Big East, great leadership by Coach Kaiser and our current athletic director, Mike Craig, who was from Duke. These are all terrifically committed and dedicated ambassadors of sport.
Yeah. All right. And then, sort of adding on to that, when you go look for the student athlete that, may be a good fit for you guys, what are some of the qualities that you look for?
Well, in order to filter the numerous emails and the numerous text messages I get, I think first we have some standards, obviously physicality standards.
Yeah.
Just like in football, how fast can you run the 40-yard dash? Yeah. How high can you reach? Obviously academic standards. We've had at St. John's, I've never had a team go below a 3.0, which is pretty incredible.
That is amazing.
A lot of my student athletes is English second language because we have a group. And we won the ABCA top academic award, the most of anyone in the conference. So that's over a 3.3 average. So that's pretty strong. We're committed to academics here.
Yeah.
So that's important. I think the academic transcript, the ability to reach high and be physical and run fast. And then you have the coaching its. I call the coaching its, you can't name it, but the kid has it.
Yeah.
So the coaching its are something that you really have to watch. Is she a good teammate? Is she a hard worker? Is she respectful to feedback? Does she respond in a fairly quick way when you send an email or a text? All of those qualities. And also, like, what do you like to do for fun? Like, I like to have fun. So that's another word that when I was growing up, we wanted to have fun. It wasn't just about money. You wanted to have fun and create friendships and, make your parents proud. So all of those qualities, I would say, are important. And when you get to a team that's ranked like us, obviously I need to filter out all of those emails, and I usually do it by some standards that have to be achieved first.
All right. Excellent. And now, from a leadership standpoint, how hard is it to try to make sure you have that next leader as that next group of seniors move on, and identifying that leader? Is it something you because of the people, the qualities you have, the leader will emerge, or you have, how do you identify that leader?
I run a program where we all lead. My assistant coaches lead. Our freshmen lead in a way that they're comfortable with. We have people on our team that lead in the community service area, people on our team that lead in the academic piece, people on our team that lead in the career development, people on our team that lead on the court. Obviously, I have to name a court captain. So that immediately sends a message to the team that this is the person that coach thinks can handle the communication and the ability to send and receive messages from the officials, from the coaches, from, in and out from the team, from our teammates along the way. So everybody leads. Obviously, usually a junior or senior takes a bigger role, but on our program, we want players to just dominate their role. They may not always be happy with their role, but we want the players to thrive in their role and dominate their role. And the same on our coaching staff. We have different pieces on our staff that we all handle. I want to be the best version of myself, and maybe I'm good at these qualities, and Coach Weber and Coach Cole are terrific as well. And they want to be the best versions of themselves and lead with things that they like to do, right? Usually when you like to do something, you're usually good at it.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So if somebody loves volumetrics and technology and statistics, go for it. And if somebody else likes the recruiting piece, go for it. If somebody else likes the official visit piece, go for it. If there's someone on our team that enjoys helping the team plan, hey, we're heading to Wisconsin, bring a coat, bring a gloves, bring a hat, it's going to be 60 degrees, whatever.
Yeah.
So we really try to do that. There's no real formula that I have to create and pick a leader. A leader really on our program leads from within, and we're all learning to lead as we go.
All right, excellent. And now, just a second ago, we were just talking about, the high caliber of person you're looking for or whatnot. When the freshmen come in, a lot of these freshmen are coming from teams where they're the alpha, they're the starter, and now adjusting to maybe they're a role position, or maybe they're coming off the bench. And we also talked a little about the mental health aspect of the athlete. How do you sort of, work with them to make sure that you don't lose them when they, that first year?
The first year is a difficult transition because of everything that you just mentioned. And then if you add an injury or a boyfriend or girlfriend or some kind of death, God forbid, of a grandparent while they're on campus, thank goodness we have professional sports medicine and professional sports therapists on our roster, in our building. Help. We have also a mental health hotline that we provide our athletes. I would say that I'm not an expert I'm getting a doctorate that's focused on how I can be a better leader through social media and mental health for these young student athletes, but I'm not a licensed therapist. So when it comes to those serious areas, we usually will recommend or someone will go and seek the help that they need. In terms of just the usual day-to-day, I sprained my ankle, I'm not traveling with the team, I feel lonely or isolated. We try to take those athletes with us because we've realized that when people are excluded from the team, it really amplifies the uncomfortableness and the loneliness and the depression and the anxiety and all of those qualities and feelings that go along with an athlete that was taken out of training.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of these athletes and for coaches, including myself, our identity is wrapped up in our occupation
Yeah.
or our sport. And so when our identity is taken away from us, or the success of that, along with the inability to physically exert ourselves and get those endorphins going,
Mm-hmm.
we have a recipe for an unhealthy student athlete.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness at St. John's Athletics and on our campus, we have people to jump right in.
Nice. Yeah, and so sort of add even more pressure onto that with, women's volleyball being a fall sport. You have freshmen coming in maybe from other countries, new language, new culture, New York City. They've got to sort of get ramped up, and you have a few weeks before that, that first game.
Yeah. You know, as I came through the coaching ranks, I was always used to coaches that were at an institution for a long time. Coach Weiss, Beth at Utah, Coach Beth. We had a coach up at Rhode Island. He was there a super long time. Coach Barry, he passed away, but at American University. And Barry, there's something to be said when the pilot is got a little gray hair and is an expert.
Yeah.
And I think when you play for coaches that are experienced, when you play for coaches that have been around the block, when you play for coaches that said, oh, I had this happen before, I know how to handle this, there's great comfort in that for our
Yeah.
athlete. So I'm not, this is not my first rodeo. And I feel really confident that when I have a new roster of freshman women that come, that we're able to really give them the resources to be super successful here.
Nice. And actually, that sort of leads into my, sort of the next few questions about, because, when Marie Zidek was on, she talked so great about you, and just, you could tell she highly respects you. She talked about you were one of the first coaches to really go, from a volleyball standpoint, possibly, that going overseas to bring in athletes to St. John's. What were those first years like? How did your, AD take that? Hey, we're going to Italy, we're going to Poland. Like, was that sort of the norm for collegiate athletes?
At St. John's, like I said, because we were outside of New York City, our university has a very diverse culture and a very diverse group of people that I grew up with because I attended St. John's. They didn't have volleyball, but I went to summer school there.
Yeah.
So, and I also was the neighbor of our men's soccer. He won a national title, Coach Dave Mazer, and he was bringing in players from Brazil and players from Russia and players from Poland and South America. And so I was reaching out also to say, okay, how do you do this? And what really happened is originally I started the team from California.
Mm-hmm.
And then once our team got to a certain level, and let's say Stanford would take my recruit, or Long Beach State at the time with Brian Gimalera would take one of my prospects, or Pepperdine would take. Then when I went to Europe and said, do you want to come to New York City? They said yes.
Nice.
So it just kind of evolved into an easier recruiting process.
Yeah. And
And
now
we have resources. We have English second language. We have all of the support for study hall for the students. So it's super, super easy transition for foreign athletes.
And sort of going back to, like, you've been around, you've been coaching for, a long period of time and recruiting these international athletes. Now, when you go to them, you sort of, do you have the advantage because you've been doing it for so long, working with the international community and bringing them over? Like, you've got the process down, what they need, and help, get them ready to acclimated to America, New York, and college.
Barry, if I don't have the process down, wow, we're in deep trouble. So, I'd like to think that I have experience in in recruiting overseas and internationally with regards to my university, how it works at St. John's. I know the areas that we can thrive in and where student athletes may really enjoy being on campus. And as long as we have the support for them,
Yeah.
that's really matters to me. And I also, though, this last few years have American girls coming as well. We have Erin Jones out of New Mexico on our team. She was first team Big East, and she was the Big East championship, made the all tournament team out of New Mexico. So that was a great addition for us, and we have a couple of others coming.
Nice, excellent. And now, speaking of like, the players and whatnot, when the spring season happens, you have some exhibition games. What are you looking for, from the team? And, because you're playing without the seniors, I'm assuming, right? The seniors are not playing in these exhibition games.
We play without the seniors in the exhibition games, and we're looking for the ability for some of the younger players. When I say younger, I mean younger in terms of game experience, maybe
Yeah.
not younger in terms of age, to get on the court and let's see them play in that atmosphere of now you have to, serve, receive, and maybe swing, in a pressure moment. We're looking to give some of our players that didn't get pressure situation experience. Now they have an opportunity to get into those gyms, get into the game, and play in a more pressure oriented situation. Even though it's spring,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a match.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. And now, over the course of the season, the regular season, are there any dates that are circled that you're like, I can't wait for that game, or I can't wait for a senior night? What are some of the, those dates that are highlighted for you?
interesting question. I love what I do, and I am really in the moment. I'm really in the day-to-day tasks
Mm-hmm.
and a job, and which has really become a vocation. It's not a job anymore, obviously. You couldn't stay at one place for 3 decades if it
Yeah.
was a job. You really need these careers are all hands-on all the time. So I have to say, Barry, that I don't look at any one particular game or day. I really am in the journey. And I think when young people that I coach learn how to be in the journey, it is in the journey that you grow. It is in the journey that you learn. It is in the journey of doing it. Yes, the game is the end result, but we only play 30 matches and we practice hundreds of days.
Yeah.
So the day-to-day interaction with our players, obviously the alumni are phenomenal. We were able to build a locker room this year. We have an unbelievable locker room now with these incredible lockers that when you walk into the room, you really feel these ladies have a special space now. We're looking at getting some flooring for our volleyball team and some foreign trips as well. We'll be doing more. But I think, Barry, that I can't wait for practice today.
Yeah. Nice. And
Um,
now,
I'm sorry if I can't answer that
no, that's
question, but
okay. This is,
I
this
love
is
competition, but you'd have to love competition to stay in the job. You'd have to
absolutely.
love competing and you have to really enjoy the day to day because otherwise you wouldn't stay out of school for this long,
Yeah, absolutely. And are there any traditions you guys have, either pregame traditions you guys do, or like when a certain road trip is happening, you guys got to go visit this
Yeah.
space?
Yeah, up until a few years ago, we used to do the karaoke. I never saw a mic I didn't like. So I would do a little karaoke with the team. And if they did karaoke and sang, they didn't have to run the next day during preseason. So we
Nice.
used to do karaoke at King Yum in Flushing, New York, which was a great restaurant for Chinese food. And we had a great time. Oh, legendary. And recently, the karaoke place closed down. So now we have to find a new place. We also like to do a preseason competition, whether it's, cornhole or whether it's tennis or pickleball now. We definitely do beach training too. But we always try to do something fun with our athletes. But I think because you brought it up, Barry, I'm going to bring back the
I
karaoke.
love it. All right. I can't wait to see it on Instagram.
Sounds good.
Uh, and now, over the years of coaching, have there been some significant sort of lessons you've learned as a coach that's influenced your coaching philosophy? Any key moments or things that have happened?
Good question. Great question. I think, what I've learned is the ability to be resilient, that all of your stumbling blocks, you have an opportunity to make a stepping stone. And so leading into the 2019 championship tournament, we had lost the final regular season volleyball game on the road. And the team on the way home on the bus, they were not happy. We had parents, that were kind of not second guessing, but oh wow, the team was doing really well. And now before Big East championships, now what happened, And I remember in my mindset was, wow, the few things that I tried in this match that did not work helped me in the finals and the semifinals and the finals of the Big East title, not to do those things again, right? So we learn from our mistakes and to really try to stay with this game plan longer. And we ended up winning. We were the 4th seed at the Big East title in 2019, and we upset Marquette at Marquette in front of their fans on their home court, and we upset Creighton, and we won the title. We were the first time that, a 4th seed ever had done that, and we went to the NCAA tournament. But I think what I've learned through it all, and really through the losses, which are so hard, I don't like losing. Who likes
Who
losing?
likes losing? Yes, exactly.
Who likes losing? But it is in the losses, if you really sit in it, that you can find a way. But it does take strong character and a strong, resilient team, which we have and we had, and the ability of girls that can handle feedback and want to make adjustments. And I think one of the things that I'm good at is training young players. I feel I have a knack to get you better.
Yeah.
I'm not getting, you don't see me in the top recruiting classes, right? You don't see St. John's top 10, top 30, but I feel I have a knack to get players better.
Yeah. Nice. Excellent. And now also, sort of adding on to that. So in your opinion, how has the landscape of volleyball coaching evolved since you first started?
Oh, wow. We don't have time for all of that.
Okay, all right.
How has it changed? Well, I was the weight trainer and I was the academic advisor in 1994. And I also was the nutritionist. And we were driving vans to all of the matches.
Wow.
We only had one pair of sneakers and we had one uniform or two, maybe two. And we had one warm-up suit. And whatever I gave out a lot of pizza, they told me.
Nice. Oh, now for the freshmen that are coming in, or for the volleyball players you're seeing coming in, are there any skills or any bad habits that you're seeing that you wish club coaches or high school coaches would work on, or is it more just have them an overall a better player from an overall standpoint, or what are you seeing?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank people like you, all of my former coaches. Joyce Ford, Merlin Thompson, that helped me along the way. Most of them were volunteers. Most of them did not get paid a lot of money. They did it for the love of the game and the love of their player and the love of their kids, right?
Yeah.
So first I want to say thank you. I think what we can work on is more fundamentals. I think the ability to use some of the resources to train, the technical, tactical part is super important. I think when we play all these matches, 4 matches on a Saturday, Sunday at the Sunshine qualifier or whatever qualifier it is, I think, yes, a player gets good at blocking on the right side and hitting 2 or 3 balls or 4 balls in a set, but there's something to be said for the all-around player.
Yeah.
Because when they change the game from side-out volleyball to rally score, you're getting a point when someone makes a mistake.
Yeah.
So I think, that is one component. And if they don't have time or resources to help their athletes become, the ability to be more technically sound, then let's work on the serving.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's work on the serving. As Karch said, all good serves have one thing in common. They go in.
That is very true. Excellent reference. Yeah. When I was growing up, that was his team, Steve Timmons and Karch. That was the thing that just drew me to volleyball.
Okay, me too. Now I have another one for you. You should also talk to, on that team, Coach Pat Powers, and you can
Okay.
tell him I sent you. He is working in California. He was on that team, an amazing outside hitter, silver medalist, wore number 13, my favorite number. And he and I are friends. So you can reach out to Pat Powers.
Yep.
And also, there's a gentleman I'd like you to reach out to. His name is Chuck Ray. He's an athletic director, but
Okay.
he was a legendary volleyball coach at Winthrop. And he can give you the lens of the athletic director.
Oh, okay.
And that is a great lens to kind of pivot to help your audience understand not only from the volleyball lane, but from the business lane. This is what we're doing right now in athletic departments around the country.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's all going with this whole NIL thing. I'm sure that's
Yeah.
just throwing a curveball into everything and the transfer portal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the transfer portal, I did, just coming into starting this podcast, I had no idea what the transfer portal is. That's an interesting, I get different views from different coaches on the transfer portal.
Yes. We haven't had anyone on our team go into the portal and leave. We only had 2 people go into the portal and come back.
Nice.
Haven't had anybody in the transfer portal. I know that will eventually change, but we still are doing it in a way of we have created a culture here. I have worked hard to create a culture here, and we are sustaining it and thriving in it right now. And so I'm hesitant to just, like I say, a one-hit wonder. When I grew up in the 70s, there were a lot of great songs, but they were usually performed by bands that had one hit, and then you never again. So I love to sing standards. So I'm a big Frank Sinatra fan, a Barbra Streisand. I'm a fan of the portfolio. I'm a fan of the ability to have a portfolio of hits and a portfolio of skills and characteristics that can align with my core values as a coach. And together, our team can do great things.
Yeah. Excellent. Like you've had a few generations of kids come through, and each generation of kid is different. How have you been able to adapt and sort of, connect with them?
Yeah, great question. I think I spend time with them.
Yeah.
I think I've tried in the last, few years to spend more time with them. And when I was younger and I did the nutrition and I was the weight trainer and, the guidance counselor, and I was spending a lot of time with them. And then what happened to coaching staffs around the country is, at some programs, there's more coaches than players.
Yeah.
So now your dynamic and your time with the player is very short because there's all these other people, involved. So my coaching staff is Coach Ryan Cole and Coach Brian Weber. It's been like that for a few years, and we don't mind getting the food for the team. We don't mind spending time with the team. Now, that's not how Texas is running, and they're doing a great job, or Nebraska. But I have found that by having boots on the ground with the team, I got into the practice just last week. Believe it or not, Barry, I laced up my sneakers, I took out my walker, and I got out there and I set the ball in the scrimmage.
Oh, shoot.
We had a great time.
Nice.
So I try to spend more time by playing or talking or having lunch with them, and it's been great.
Nice.
Great. The players are better than ever. They're really smart, very communicative. Yes, they like to be on their screens, but they really care a lot and they're dedicated. And I find them to be delightful.
And now, speaking of setting, what's your take on the new setting rule that's going to be happening on the doubles?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. However, I have learned in my career to pivot. So it's never an advantage on your own side of the net when you don't have technically sound plays.
Yeah.
Whether that's serve receive, whether that's having goofy footwork on an attack, right? The volleyball is a game of angles. It's a technical, tactful game. So I understand the part that I like about it is that there'll be fewer referee whistles. And the referees at times in my career have had to call a double on a every point is important, but to end a match.
Yeah.
Or you'll see coaches really getting angry during a match at an official because they called it one way on this side and then later they didn't call the double on the other. So I understand that fewer whistles are always great for fan base. So that's good. The thing is, what I'm concerned about volleyball is over my years, the number of rule changes and the kinds of rule changes confuse the audience. If my family that's been watching volleyball for 3 decades doesn't understand the call, we should really be concerned about that, right? So we want it to be easy to understand, easy to follow. But yes, again, I'm not a proponent of that rule. However, I'm willing to pivot and I will still be teaching proper technique on my side of the net.
Yeah. There we go. Excellent. Yeah. Speaking of rules and family knowing the rules, our high school coach, I asked her, why she coached basketball and then she started coaching volleyball. She coached volleyball because the parents don't know the rules. So they don't know how to, I thought that was the funniest answer.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's my point is we want our fans to understand the rules.
Yeah.
It's funny because in the basketball, what really helped basketball was the 3-point shot. Now I think they should have a 5-point shot, like behind the half court.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Like if you hit it,
it's
you
a
get
chance to
5
take.
points.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the double in volleyball reminds me of the carry of the dribbling. You know how when I was a little girl, you could only have your hand on top of the ball. And now you see them bringing up the ball. I mean,
and they're not calling traveling either,
they don't call the travel either. So I think this is what's trickled down to women's volleyball.
Yeah.
So Barry, we have to go with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You have to adapt, just like my break from volleyball, I came back and now there's a libero. I was like, oh, what is this new role? So I was really curious to get your take on when the libero was introduced. Did it just, was it applied to all levels or were there a few years that they had the libero before they brought it into college?
I can't remember exactly. I don't want to give you incorrect information. Yeah. I remember they just brought the libero in and we recruited a great libero out of Chicago, played for a sports performance. So she came, we were lucky. We happened to get one right away. So the libero rule, I think was a great rule. So that I think was a great rule, really helped defense hang with the offense more.
So now, any advice or words of wisdom for, coaches, high school coaches or club coaches that are looking to make a positive impact on the young athletes?
Yeah, they're making a positive impact. They're making a positive impact through sport. They are making a difference. You are making a difference. I always tell the story of the starfish, how I'm walking down the beach and I see an old man and he's bending down and he's tossing the starfish into the ocean. And there's thousands of starfishes all over the ocean. And I say to the old man, now, why are you doing that? He's, there's thousands of starfish. And he picks up the starfish and he throws it in to the ocean and he says, it made a difference to that starfish. You're making a difference. Even when you come home from a club tournament and maybe your team didn't win any matches and maybe there's a girl crying and upset that she didn't play. Those are very difficult moments, but you are making a difference. Every day, people that are in the arena with sweat on their brow, they are making a difference.
Nice. Excellent. I love that. All right. So now I have a question from a high school coach for you. Developing team chemistry and cohesion is essential for the success of a volleyball team. How do you foster the positive team culture at St. John's?
It's a good question. I think it comes from the top. I think finding good leaders is difficult. I think finding good leaders that have to lead under great pressure to win matches to keep their jobs can be challenging.
Yeah.
I think finding great leaders with limited resources to continue to compete in an ever-changing volleyball world with NIL and the Christmas tree kind of attitude is difficult. I think what I've tried to do is to align what the student athlete needs with what I can give them in a reason. I recruit out of Hawaii a lot. And
Oh, okay.
I can't tell the young lady from Honolulu that we do not get snow in New York, you know?
Yeah.
So even though we're recruiting, even though people say we're salespeople, even though I've heard, a lot of correspondence about, oh, are you going to get that kid or this kid? I think in the end, finding the right fit, these young athletes today on your club team need to find the right fit, just like a shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Or it has to fit. If the school isn't fitting, if you're a size 9, but your school is a size 12, that's not going to work. So I think in the evaluation of finding the right player and the right position at the time that I need is really going to help me build leaders. And I'm a positive person, Barry. I mean, even my mom says, when you were a kid, you were always happy. So I don't know why I'm always happy, but I'm not happy when we lose, but I'm happy as naturally innate
Yeah.
quality I have. So, and I feel I'm positive too. So I think maybe I gravitate towards more people like that,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. But it doesn't mean that we're happy all the time. But I think I'm content.
Nice. Excellent.
So, I mean, in terms of building a positive atmosphere, I think just day to day doing tasks that we do and enjoying and being present.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is I'm grateful. I think our players are grateful. I did something for our players yesterday. I put up a picture of them, of the team
Mm-hmm.
in the locker room and I usually do not put a current picture of our team in the locker room. And they were so grateful. And it was just, Harry, it was just a nice photo of them.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So I was so happy that they understood that gesture
Mm-hmm.
from me, and they did. And I think being grateful and having appreciation for I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. And as speaking of Hawaiian, I've had a couple of Hawaiians on the podcast, Micah Christensen and Eric Shoji, who are over in Russia and Poland. I was going to say, how's your Hawaiian girl? How is she liking the winter climate?
Aloha! How great is Eric Soji? The whole
Oh my
family.
God.
Oh, you should interview his father, legendary.
I would love to. Actually, his cousin is coming on, Malaya Shoji at UNLV, so she's coming on soon. But yeah, I've just wonderful people, just fantastic people.
Fantastic people. And we got to play in Honolulu, and Honolulu was just so wonderful for our team because the fans, the Hawaiians,
Mm-hmm.
they give the opposing team, leis and gifts and candy, and we're the opponents. So that was great. Yeah. Eric Soji, so wonderful.
Yeah, very just good people, and Micah was the same way. Just like you were talking about gratitude, and Micah was talking about. I asked him a question about when you first stepped on the court, with Team USA, did you have a sense that you should be playing? He said, Barry, I'm just grateful to be there. These are the best. I'm happy just to wipe the sweat off the floor. It's like, here's a person who is like one of the best in the world. And it's just so humbling. It's fantastic people.
Fantastic. And when they come from Honolulu, usually they want to get off the rock.
Yeah.
They're excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They're excited to come to New York. The flight is a little long. It's the longest flight. It's further than Europe.
Yeah.
But I think they enjoy the diversity. They enjoy the excitement. They enjoy 24/7. They enjoy all the things that St. John's in New York City can offer them. Very different than Hawaii.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Hawaii is beautiful.
Yes. So now, what do you think is the state of the game today? Texas, the championship, tons of people watching it. We had that Nebraska match with 90,000 people, and now we've got the Pro Women's League, another Pro Women's League starting. It's just, what's your take on where volleyball is today?
I have two comments about that. The first is, without great leaders like Kathy DeBoer and obviously John Cook at Nebraska, that's really leading, and we stand on all of those people's shoulders that came before us. We stand on their shoulders. When I was a little girl, Barry, the only female athlete that I saw professionally on TV, on our little black and white TV, was Billie Jean King and Sissy Everett playing tennis. So with Caitlin Clark and the unbelievable numbers and ratings that women's sports have been receiving recently. It's outstanding. And
Yeah.
I'm just so pleased again to be here and to be, to be in the arena watching it and excited for these phenomenal female athletes and terrific male coaches, female coaches, terrific support staffs that are both male and female. I mean, we're all in it together.
Yeah.
So it's been a great, exciting time for women's volleyball, but thanks to some incredible leadership and those schools that have truly, truly supported and put revenue support and resources into those programs, at a significantly high level.
Yeah.
And I think there's more to do. And I'm looking forward to the future and seeing the professional league that Dr. Cecile Renaud has created, along with, those great people there in that department. So these are longtime women that have been leading for us behind the scenes and very humble. And so we owe a lot to them.
Nice. Excellent. All right. And, away from coaching, you're not, you have to whistle. What do you enjoy to do? Besides, playing music, obviously.
That's obviously playing music. I like to hit that little yellow tennis ball.
Okay.
Yes. I'm on a tennis team, 4.5 tennis team. I'm a doubles player, though. My younger sister, I have two great sisters, Janine and Geraldine. My younger sister was, a very excellent tennis player, played at St. John's. And I love to fish, Barry.
Oh, okay. Like deep sea fishing or just lake and river?
I do lake fishing, and I have a little lake house. I do lake fishing, some bass, pickerel, some perch, any time of the summer, whenever I can. And we also do deep sea fishing also. We go out to Montauk here. New York is surrounded by water. We're on an island, so I don't know if people realize that, but I love to fish. I've always loved to fish. So
Nice.
maybe because the fish don't talk and I can't talk.
Excellent. Oh.
Namaste to the fish.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for doing this. It was wonderful to meet you and hear your story. But before I go, like past guests, you've dropped a lot of people who I should have on the pod. Who do you think I should, give me one more that I really should have on the podcast?
I gave you a few already. I'm going to give you the legend of beach volleyball on Long Island. Started beach volleyball on Long Island in my mind, Rich Highless. He started in 1980 with 2 nets on the beach.
Yeah.
Out in the Hamptons, and now there's 92
Wow.
nets. And I nominated from the Hall of Fame. I think he's a significant story that's helped volleyball in Long Island. A lot of Connecticut people came to play in our tournaments.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rich Highless. I gave you a few other names.
Yeah.
Chuck Ray. I also think Mark Burek from Better on the Beach is went to my high school, St. Francis Prep. He's another person absolutely you have to talk to. He can tell you all about the technical tactics. He's running great camps. And then a good friend of mine who was a longtime coach who became an international official. So another lens.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Ray from the academic and athletic AD lens. And now you're going to have Patty Rolph from the FIVB international level, and she can tell you about the transitioning of the international game to the collegiate game.
Excellent.
So Patty Rolph is also a nice person to chat with.
All right.
Harry, I have to say, thank you.
For what?
Thank you so much for taking the time and wanting to talk to me and learn about more about volleyball in the East Coast and learn about what I think. Honestly, I'm biased, but I think my program is a really good.
Well, how could I not have you on? After Marie came on, she spoke so highly of you. And then I had lunch with Peter, and Peter said, "Oh, Jojo's a wonderful person. You're going to have a great conversation." And he was right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, good luck to you for the next season. And and we'll see you when you come up and play UConn.
And the next time we play UConn, come over and say hi.
I will.
At the end of the game, before the game, come over and say hi.
Will do.
She's a beauty.